Two, three. Mic check. 1, 2, 3, 4. You are now tuned into the Terry Gilbert experience. That was kind of lame. That was lame. What was it? Boy, you are now tuned into. Mic check. 1, 2, 3. 1, 1, 1, 1. All right, it's 1, 1, 1. Okay, it's where you are now tuned into the Terry Gilbert experience. Ooh, I like the experience. Yeah, you are now tuned in. You are now tuned into the Terry. You are now tuned into the Terry Gilbert experience. Rocking out with your boy. I'm solo today. I'm in the as you can see. This is the new studio here, just built for myself, and I have to start today off with coronavirus, COVID-19. Obviously, given an update last 6 months, took off since my birthday. I haven't posted anything as far as podcast related content. Man, so much has been going on, and I'm gonna try to jump into a few of these topics and basically give my 2 cents. And we're gonna move on, and we're going to jump into it right now with the coronavirus. Unemployment has skyrocketed. Obviously, everyone knows that unemployment has gone through the roof as far as people filing, losing their jobs, being furloughed, being laid off. Luckily, there is a sector of people who haven't been laid off, which is great, man. And I'm happy for them. And I hope that it wasn't a wave and that there's not a second wave like they've been talking about the coronavirus of, like, hopefully there's not a second wave of layoffs. That's my hope and prayer for everyone that is working right now. If you are a bartender or a waiter or waitress, you basically just, you got furloughed or you got laid off. They let you go because restaurants wasn't open, and nobody was dining in. And so now the economy is starting to open back up. States are starting to open back up, and now we are starting to see, I don't want to say go back to normal, because right now I'm here located in Houston, Texas, or right outside of Houston, Texas, Pearland, but Houston, Texas, and we are open, so to speak. We're still in phase 1. The gyms haven't opened up, and that's how I know which phase we're in. So they're starting to open. The restaurants are open, and I think they're allowing people to. The barbershops and the nail salons are open. But as far as the gyms, they aren't open, and we just saw a huge spike in numbers, and they said they targeted meat plants. From an article I read, they said they were targeting meat plants, sending out more tests for whatever reason, but the numbers did spike after we opened. And you gotta wear a mask everywhere you go. And you definitely should. And this virus has impacted the black community, unparalleled to any other community. And we have been impacted, and it's touching in the stories you see. And I'm happy that my family hasn't been impacted by it, and hopefully in the near future that some vaccines come out and we're able to get back to normal. We're able to beat or overcome this virus and combat it with some of the medical profession, some of the things that they're working on, because it has impacted life as we know it right now. A lot of Americans are finding other ways, and I see a lot of people starting businesses. I see a lot of people on Shopify. And if you didn't know, obviously this podcast is informative, and in some retrospect I want it to be informative. Shopify, you can go on Shopify and get 3 months free on a trial. If you are a content creator, or if you're doing any video editing, you have a MacBook Pro or a MacBook, you can download Final Cut Pro, and they're giving 3 months free on a trial. So we can use these trials to get us to where we need to be and make as much as you need to make and figure out the next step after that. Trial your way through. Like, obviously a lot of things in life are trial and error, but you know, if you put in the effort, you have a clear goal, you aim at your target, I'm pretty sure you can knock it out. You just put enough effort into that thing. So yeah, that is what's been going on as far as what I've seen out, and just, you know, using social media. Actually, obviously, social media uptick has gone through the roof. Everybody's on Instagram Live. Everybody's tuning in to the versus battles, which has been amazing. Especially with the last one that we had with Ludacris and Nelly. That was pretty funny. Teddy Riley and Babyface, I think, set the tone for everybody. And so we got a lot of good laughs out of that. And I think that kind of brought everyone together. And coming up, as far as the NBA, I think the NBA, the NFL, and all these sports, baseball also, them getting back into action, that is going to actually help us also be able to, like, come back together and bring some type of normalcy to our day-to-day lives. I think we are trying to get there, but obviously the millennial community hasn't been impacted as much as our elders, as much as the people in the group of 65 and older, or the people with underlying health conditions, or like the black community also with some of the underlying health conditions that we suffer from, that stem back through basically history and how we've gotten to the point where we are now. So there's a lot going on in the world right now, and obviously being at home. Some people are quarantined by themselves. Some people are quarantined with their wives, their girlfriends, and you know, you're discovering your kids also. You're discovering things about them that you never knew, and I think that those stories that I've watched, that I've seen, that I've listened to have been really good. They've been very enlightening. How people are starting to actually, you know, sit down and talk to each other. Families are starting to actually come together and come closer and learn more about each other, which is what we need in a time like this. We definitely need those type of things. And I feel like, just speaking from my heart, I feel like this has been a huge reset. This has been a reset button for America as a whole. We obviously have to look at what's going on in politics and figure out, you know, how can we help our communities that are being hit the hardest with this virus. What tools, what policies do we need to put in place? Releasing that stimulus check, I'm sure, helped a lot of people pay some much needed bills that, you know, that their job, because they were put out of their job, they weren't able to pay those bills. And so that stimulus check helped. I know a lot of people said maybe it wasn't enough or it wasn't this or that, but it was something that we didn't have, and it's something that they gave out to people that fit the criteria. And I feel like I feel like it helped to a certain extent. It helped what it could help. Maybe they will be issuing out another one here soon. We don't know yet. We're just watching. I know there was a long stint of when everyone was just watching the news 24/7. I typically don't like to watch the news 24/7 because it's depressing. Just plain and simple. The news is depressing. To me, it doesn't. There's nothing good on there. It hasn't been any good news for myself, and so I'm just like, So I was a part of that group that was watching the news faithfully. I think at the like 5 o'clock hour, and you know, you were getting updates from Donald Trump. You were getting updates from Dr. Fauci, and they were letting us know what was going on, and you know, making these decisions to close down, to completely close down, to quarantine, and to stay on lockdown. And so that lockdown did cause a lot of people to really self-reflect or scramble. A lot of people are out, you know, doing DoorDash, delivering Uber Eats and making sure they make ends meet. And you also saw within that March to, well, where we at now, May, that range, at time span, you saw a lot of celebrities come out and start campaigns to give back, which was great. I saw Diddy raise over like $4 million. You saw the All In challenge where even athletes were able to put up different day in the life with Tom Brady type of deals to where you can bid on that, and they're raising millions and millions of dollars to help the people impacted by COVID-19. And also, which is a great thing, which is it's super great seeing that happen. That has been super impactful. To bring Diddy back up, also Diddy being in the media about the black vote, the black community, and as far as like the Democratic Party, you've seen all these Zoom calls and all these different Zoom debates and all these different ways of communication that we're using. That has been really good. It has been a bridge. It has been a way to help us stay connected even though we're not next to each other. And the use of technology, it has grown. Obviously the stock market, it didn't crash. The stock market went down very low, especially like airline stocks were at an all-time low. I think I glanced at Spirit Airlines, and it was down at like $8 a share. And then I checked the 52-week high, and the 52-week high was I think it was around like $50 a share. And so that was all the way down. And I'm sure it's going to take, just like that industry, a lot of other industries a long time to get back to where they need to be. Maybe over a year, or maybe right at a year, to get back actually rolling and where they really, really want to be, or where they were before. The black vote, we all saw Diddy come out and say that he's holding his vote hostage, that Joe Biden will not receive his vote unless he does something for the black community or release a black agenda, which has been paramount in a sense because it got the conversation going. I thought it was a great thing getting the conversation going, getting people speaking about the black vote and what we're going to do with our vote and how we are going to put forth an agenda to help our community. And it's shortly after he put out a black agenda, which is cool. I went through it. I read some of it, or all of it, and it was very vague in some spots, but it's a start, and I feel like there's room to negotiate. And so now making headway in that area, which I think that's really good for us. And if you haven't got a chance, definitely go check out I think it's called Lift Every Voice, Joe Biden's Black Agenda. And so definitely check that out. It's on his website. You can't miss it. Obviously, R.I.P., rest in peace to Ahmaud Arbery. This is a very touching time as far as that really impacted me. And if you don't know who Ahmaud Arbery is, he was a 25-year-old black man taking a jog in rural Georgia. And three white men suspected or said that they thought he was a burglar that was robbing, that they had heard reports about robbing the neighborhood. And Ahmaud Arbery was a 25-year-old young man taking a jog, probably a couple of miles from his house, and he was taking a jog, and basically three white men went out and tried to do what they said they were orchestrating a citizen's arrest. Now, whether that's what they were doing or not, it wasn't right what they did. And there's video that has been released about there's video that has been released to show what actually happened. You see him jogging, and you see them cut him off, and then you see a struggle, a fight with the gun, and then you see the gun go off. You see one shot, and you see another shot, and you hear another shot, I think, and he falls, he collapses, he passes away. This happened back in February. The video came out here recently, and it went viral. And now it's, up for conversation on being black in America, and it's nothing new, but it just goes to show that you do, as a black man in America, it's different from you. It's different for you. It's different for me. I'm a 28-year-old black man in America, and I see the difference. And I live in Texas, Houston, Texas to be exact, and I see the difference. And so as a black man, we definitely move differently. We have to move differently. We have to be aware of our surroundings, and we have to look out for each other. And it's just disheartening to see where we've come as a society, that things like this are still happening. And so, which is why we have to use our voices, which is why we have to make sure we exercise our rights. I feel as though we, as young black men, we definitely have to get familiar with with the 2A, with the Second Amendment, and understand and know it, and understand how we can use it to our benefit at all times, just to make sure we protect ourselves and protect our families. And I'm looking for more ways to combat this. Obviously, it's a personal issue. Obviously, I am no different than Ahmaud Arbery. Actually, I run very often. And so, we definitely want to look at our neighborhoods, and I don't know, it's just something I definitely have to come back to and touch on a bit more once I process my thoughts and what I really, really want to say on that subject. But one thing I can say is that I don't think it would have been handled the same way whether if the races were reversed. If it was black men hunting down a white man, chasing after a white man and trying to perform a citizen's arrest. And so that's something that we definitely have to change, and we definitely got to be behind the people like Van Jones and the people who, Bakari Sellers, the people that are out there really trying to forge a lane for us and help us out politically. So that's that on that, and I definitely revisit that. Let's jump into a subject that I really like as far as tech news. Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg says the social network has a high bar for removing content. So obviously on Facebook there's been a ton of content about coronavirus, and some of the content may be harmful to you. And so Facebook is doing its best job to make sure they remove all the content that could possibly be harmful to you. Now, I would love to see what they're actually using to do this, but they said that they are paying close attention to what's being pushed out on the platform about coronavirus, and if it's harmful, they're taking it off. Also, which this was very interesting. Singapore, and a court in Singapore hands out death sentence via Zoom, which that was very interesting. Singapore's Supreme Court was contacted with further comment, but did not immediately respond since much of the Western world is placed on coronavirus lockdown late February through March. Zoom usage has skyrocketed. It has led to questions about what business and software is and isn't fit to handle. Companies like Google, SpaceX have banned employees from using Zoom out of security concerns, as has Indian government. School districts in New York, as well as teachers throughout Singapore, have also been barred from using the software. Particular issues include a built-in attention tracking feature to upticks in Zoom bombing, in which uninvited attendees break in and disrupt meetings, often with hate-filled and pornographic content. Meanwhile, Singapore has, for the past month, been dealing with a second wave of coronavirus infections after at first being cited as an example of how to handle such a virus. It overtook Indonesia and on April 19th to become the Southeast Asian country with the most confirmed cases. There's currently over 18,000 confirmed cases with 22 deaths. That's crazy. Also in tech news, your face mask selfies could be training the next facial recognition tool. Researchers are crawling the internet for photos of people wearing face masks to improve facial recognition for algorithms. Facebook new AI tool will automatically identify items you put up for sale. We want to make anything and everything on the platform shoppable. I think this is pretty cool, and I've actually played around with this technology on a few different apps to where you take a picture of something like a desk or a painting, and you don't even have to type in. It gives it the title of what you're actually taking a picture of, and basically the AI behind the software behind the picture that you're taking figure out what you're taking a picture of using, data given to it, and it creates the title of a desk or a chair or a painting. That's been what I've used it for, and so I think that's pretty cool, especially if you're trying to use like a Facebook Marketplace or a 5 Miles app or some of those tools to resell different items while you're at home. We're all at home right now, so why not make an extra couple bucks on Facebook Marketplace? TikTok has a new CEO now. He has to deal with music labels, competing apps, and angry senators. A bulldog executive might just be what TikTok needs right now. Kevin Meyer, once heir apparent to Disney throne, is leaving the House of Mouse to run a different kind of entertainment company. TikTok. We'll see what happens with TikTok. See where that goes. Keep an eye on that one. Interesting switch of powers. Oh, and the last thing I've seen in just tech news, this NYC Subway app. This guy was interviewed. New York guy, New York native, was interviewed. He found himself missing the subway. Maybe not so much the smells, but certainly the sounds. And so he created a soundboard of the New York subway, and I actually downloaded it, and let's play a few things. And if you're familiar with the subway system in New York, you will know some of these sounds. If not, you'll just be like, what's going on?
Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
This is a Brooklyn-bound 5 express train. This is Times Square, 42nd Street.
As you exit, please be careful of the gap between the platform and the train.
This one is pretty cool. It says it's titled Music You Didn't Ask to Hear. I thought that was pretty cool. Whoa. I thought that one was pretty cool, but so basically this guy missed the sounds of the subway, and he missed being riding the subway all day, and typically he said he would put on his headphones and drown out all the noise and all the commotion that's going on. But as a native New York person, that's your daily life. And as a person that's only visited New York one time, I thought that was really, really cool when I seen that. And so if any of my listeners are in New York or miss New York, or even want to just check out what it sounds like to be on a subway in New York, there'll be a link below to download this app. It's called NYC Subway Sounds, and you can just go and play some of the noises that they hear on a daily basis. And I'm sure some of that could be therapeutic to some people, just, on their daily hustle and bustle that we don't have. And so hopefully in the near future, we can get back to that daily routine and also practice social distancing in the midst of all of that. But I thought that was pretty cool that he went and created that. And in tech news, we have man makes money buying his own pizza on DoorDash app. So the owner of a pizza restaurant in the US has discovered the DoorDash delivery app has been selling his food cheaper than he does while still paying him full price. Now the owner decided to be anonymous, but basically he found out that DoorDash listed his pizza on their app, and he actually purchased a couple of them, and they paid him full price, in which he paid $16 for what he sold in his restaurant, a $24 pizza, and they delivered it, and it worked out. It worked out the way it happened, and so the owner didn't understand why this was happening, because he never consented to have DoorDash place his business on their app. And what they found out later, which DoorDash didn't respond, but what they found out later was that DoorDash runs these different type of promos to see the demand for the pizza would be on their app, and then they'll go to the restaurant owner and try to get their services on the app. And so I thought that was pretty cool that this guy actually was checking out, actually buying his own pizza for a cheaper price on the app, thinking like, maybe he got something, or maybe something happened to his business. I'm Terry Gilbert, and that's your tech news. Wow, that's crazy segment. For today, May 19th, 2020, the Wow That's Crazy segment goes to President Donald Trump. President Donald Trump has come out saying that he is taking hydroxychloroquine. And if you know anything about hydroxychloroquine, that is a drug that was used to fight malaria, to fight different other viruses, and it's also been linked to heart attacks. And so he said he's been taking that. I don't know if he said why, but he said he's been taking it. He said he feels fine, and we don't know what to believe or not to believe, but that is what we have for the Wow That's Crazy segment. It's your boy Terry Gilbert. Thank you for tuning in to the Terry Gilbert Experience. I appreciate you. I love you. And in all things, thank God. We out. Let's see. Let's see if we can put some.